Hey, oh, I look nice here. Yay, the sunset. Oh, the scenery's good. All right, so I used to suffer from OCD, which stands for obsessive compulsive disorder. If you're watching this video, you probably know what it is already, but just in case you happen to stumble upon my video and wasn't sure. So an example, OCD comes in different forms, but ultimately, obsessive compulsive disorder, basically, it's when someone does something more excessively. Their behavior and the way they do things is more excessive than the average person. So, for example, when I used to walk into a room, turn on the light, turn on the switch, I literally had to flick the switch on and off. Like, I think it was 8 times. I had to do it 8 times. And then from there, I could finally go on with my day. If I didn't switch the light on and off 8 times, then I couldn't go on with my day. And even when I was writing, when I used to write lowercase i's and o's, I had to circle around the O. I had to make a O, circle, 8 circles. For example, with the O, I couldn't just write an O and leave it. I had to circle around that O 8 times. And even with lowercase i's, when you dot the I used to my dots used to be so big because I would have to make mark it for 8 seconds. It was really, really a lot. So I went to see a therapist at this, because at the time let me give you the background real quick. I was 12 years old. My sister and I had just entered into the foster care system. So looking back now, it actually makes sense why I was behaving, why my mind was that way. Because I was so stressed out. I just think my mind didn't know how to process everything. So I just started dealing with things in that way. So anyway, saw a therapist. She was freaking awesome. She's actually the one who helped me get rid of my OCD. So what she said was, okay. She said, instead of doing everything in counts of 8, instead of doing everything 8 times, she said, starting tomorrow, she said, do everything in the count of 6. So instead of doing everything 8 times, do everything 6 times. So she said, just start off with 6. She said, when we meet next week, she said, for the whole rest of the week, just do 6. And she said, when we meet again next week, let me know how it goes. So I took her advice and I basically did everything in the count of 6. And I told her, I said, it was a little hard at first, but it was just hard not to go to number 7, but I stopped. I said, okay, I'm only doing 6. She said, okay, great. Now you have to do 4. So from that point, I started doing 4. And you get the gist of it. Every week, I started lowering the amount of times that I did everything. So eventually, I wasn't even doing it anymore. One day it hit me, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing it anymore. And it was just so relieving because I felt like I wasn't a prisoner anymore, to my mind. All right, so I'm 26 now. I can't believe it, but that was 14 years ago. Now, recently I noticed that I still have traces of OCD mentally. It's not physical anymore. So when I have a thought, the thought will whirl around my head. It will literally, let's say my thought is Elmo is sexy. Pretty good, right? This is what will happen in my mind. This is the way my mind will go. It'll say, I'll keep having the same thought over and over. Elmo is sexy. Elmo is sexy. Elmo is sexy. Elmo is sexy. And it won't stop. Literally, from the time it starts till the time I go to bed, the thought will be in my head. So, as you can imagine, that was driving me crazy. So, if you watch my videos, you know I started seeing a therapist lately. So I asked the therapist, what do I do when I have these OCD thoughts? Like, what do I do? And so he told me a couple of things, but he said the first step is to remember that this is OCD. To remind yourself that the thought is OCD. And the second thing to do is refocus on something else. Don't stop